Hello and welcome to another episode of AMISA Radio, AMISA, American International Schools in the Americas. As we begin this episode of AMISA Radio, in which we have a conversation with Jaime Casap, the former Google evangelist for education and now consultant and influencer, we want to take time to stop and share a tribute and dedication of this episode to our late friend, Silvia Tolisano. It was with great sadness that our AMISA family and the larger educational community worked through the passing of Silvia this past year on March 1st, 2021. And we continue to miss her greatly. It is in this AMISA radio episode, Silvia interviews Jaime Casap. It's Silvia's last AMISA radio with us. The former Google evangelist for education, Jaime and Silvia, discuss topics in education related to the COVID-19 pandemic, shifts in education, and innovations and mind shifts that we need to take as educators. This AMISA radio interview with Jaime, again, is Silvia's last interview. So we want to take time to dedicate this episode to Silvia. May her memory continue to inspire us all. Silvia has been our educational evangelist at AMISA, at formerly ASA, for many years. She joined our family full-time this past year, and we lost her so unexpectedly. We miss you, Silvia. We thank you for everything you've done. You will always be our international educational evangelist. Thank you for the work you did to make learning visible. Your language's work will live on, and everything you contributed to education. So we wish your family, Ed, and the kids the very best, and we thank you again for everything you've been able to do for us. We want to take time to dedicate this episode to you. So enjoy this episode. I hope it is inspiring to you to take time to stop, reflect, appreciate the small things in life. Appreciate your family, appreciate your friends, appreciate everything that educators and your colleagues do, the impact of education on our world. I hope we can unite. I hope we can work through these difficult times and have unity and appreciation and compassion for all as we work to make everyone able to enjoy a wonderful, peaceful, and pleasant life and pleasant world.
Welcome to episode 13 of AMISA Radio, formerly known as ASA Radio. And my name is Silvia Tolisano, and I have the pleasure of welcoming Jaime Casap today. AMISA is thrilled to be able to introduce you to him in this episode, as Jaime is preparing to launch a series of AMISA Connect sessions in February, titled Shifting the Culture of Education Through Challenging Our Understandings of Education. Let me give you a brief background on Jaime, and more detailed bio is available in the show notes on our blog. Jaime Casap served as the Chief Education Evangelist at Google for more than 14 years and was the second member of the Google for Education team. Jaime is now partnering and collaborating with higher education institutions, school systems, and businesses around the world, helping them build transformational policies and practices to elevate education and bring equity, diversity, and inclusion into their policies and practices. He speaks on education, digitalization, diversity and inclusion, Generation Z, and the future of work at events around the world. So welcome, Jaime.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited that this is episode 13 because that's my favorite number.
Different places and different countries, they all have different numbers that are lucky or unlucky. So
right.
All good. So 13 is a good number for you. I'm glad.
Yeah, it is.
Jaime, tell us a little bit about your role at Google.
Yeah, so the introduction was great. I spent 15 years at Google, the majority of that as the chief education evangelist for Google, focused on the role that technology plays in education. I got lucky in some regards, launched Google Apps for Education that we now call G Suite into the university system back in 2006. Arizona State University was the first university to use the system. Today we call it G Suite, but it used to be called Google Apps. And then I had a crazy idea of, I fell in love with this idea of what we could do with technology in education. I got involved. I'm one of those weird people at Google that actually left the engineering team and went to the enterprise team. That's almost never done at Google because I wanted to be part of a team that brought this to students all over the world. Had a crazy idea of launching these tools into